What's going on YouTube? My name is Matthew Blaine and I'm a high school photography teacher, a filmmaker, and a photographer. And in this video we're going to be comparing the Switchpod with the Joby Gorillapod. In 2015, my brother and I decided that we wanted to ride our bicycles across the United States, and I had to invest in a tripod. I didn't want something that was going to be big and clunky because we were on bicycles, so I wanted something lightweight. And after a lot of research and figuring out what was the best, I ended up going with the Gorillapod because it was so versatile and it could fit in our bags and it didn't weigh a whole lot. One of my favorite things about the Gorillapod is that it's flexible and I could put it just about anywhere and not have to worry about uneven ground. Overall, I really didn't have many complaints with the Gorillapod other than it's like almost impossible to put it back into a straight position. But that's honestly not a huge deal. Generally, I would slip it into the side, a side bag of my bicycle, and I didn't really have any issues. For the most part, I use it for vlogging. I did some landscape photography and I took some portraits of ourselves at scenic spots along the way. Honestly, it was one of the best investments I made for that trip. I was really happy with the performance of it. In 2019, I came across Pat Flynn's Kickstarter for the Switchpod. And honestly, it was a device that I really didn't know I needed. The Switchpod is, not the Switchpod, the Gorillapod honestly is a little bit big to carry while you're vlogging. My hands don't quite fit all the way around it, so trying to have to hold the Gorillapod for long periods of time definitely becomes a little bit uncomfortable and cumbersome. I backed the Switchpod Kickstarted in 2019. And that was the time I was like, yes, I'm gonna buy this and I'm gonna start vlogging and I'm gonna start my YouTube channel. So I got it and life kind of went on. I used it for day-to-day stuff. One thing that I really love about the Switchpod is just the size of it. It's like no thicker than my wallet, and it just makes life so much easier. It's so easy to just fit my hand around it and then quickly set the camera down. Whereas the Gorillapod, you have to bend the legs apart and really take your time trying to figure out how you're gonna set it down. I'd like to just jump in here and tell you that today's video is brought to you by Squarespace. I'm kidding. This video is not brought to you by Squarespace. I'm not sponsored. Squarespace doesn't even know who I am. If you could help me out and hit that subscribe button or share this video with somebody who you know might like it, I would appreciate that. So if you are someone who already has the Gorillapod and you're thinking about getting the Switchpod, do you need the Switchpod? The answer is no. Right? The Gorillapod's gonna do the same exact thing that the Switchpod's gonna do. They're just different tools for different purposes. So if you're someone like me and you love to be in the outdoors, you love to go camping, hiking, backpacking, and all that incredible stuff, I would highly recommend getting the Gorillapod just because it's so much more versatile and you don't know what you're going to encounter. You can wrap it around trees, you can set it on uneven ground, whereas the Switchpod really isn't made for the outdoors per se, like camping, hiking on level grounds. It's just not the best for that. So if you're out in the woods and you want to set your Switchpod or your camera down on the ground and the ground's uneven, like this is right here, you're definitely going to want to go with the Gorillapod, because the Switchpod, if I can get this out with this giant glove on, the Switchpod is really unstable and it's harder to maneuver when you're on unlevel terrain, ground, you get the point. Where the Switchpod really shines is in day-to-day life. So if you're in the city or you're just like a daily vlogger, this thing really comes in handy and is honestly way easier to use than the Gorillapod, just because there's no finagling the legs around. You just flip it out, flip it back in, and you're done. You don't have to worry about adjusting the legs, and the profile of it is just so thin that it can fit in a pocket, it can fit in a bag, it can fit in a backpack. It's just a lot more sleek, slim, and like me. So who is the Switchpod for? The Switchpod is for that person who is generally inside, outside, in the city. You go to places where the ground, you have countertops, you have concrete, and you can easily just set the Switchpod down, don't have to worry about it, and you're good to go. And you fold it back up, and you're back vlogging, all right? So I would definitely highly recommend the Switchpod. It's an incredible tool for all creatives, and it just makes vlogging that much easier. So it really just depends on your needs, where you are, where you're gonna be, and what you're gonna be using it for. I kind of generally follow the rule of thumb that you can never have too many tripods. But if you're on a budget, the Gorillapod is just a little bit more versatile, though it is a little bit more cumbersome. So that's really a decision that you're gonna have to make. But I hope that this review has kind of helped you figure out what that might be. Both the Gorillapod and the Switchpod are listed in the description below if you're interested in picking one or both of them up. Hey, so if you like this video, I'd love for you to consider subscribing, smash that like button, or just click it, you know, whatever. My name is Matthew Blaine. I hope you enjoyed this content. If you didn't enjoy it and you're still here, well, congrats, you made it. I love you, and have a fantastic day. See you in the next one. We'll see ya. Hey, we'll see ya.